So the summer is officially done, at least weather-wise, up in the Midwest. Done a few things to the car since the last video that I have not recorded. So figured that I'll give you guys a little recap of the things that I've done in between the time of this video and the last one. So to start off, this is my most laziest work that I have done to this date for this car. I ended up adding these hood latches and pins that I had for about a year or two, and as you can see, angle and position of them is pretty poor. I don't know if that's because of my last job with the last hood pins. I really didn't care how it looked. I just wanted to make sure that the hood does not come up. As you probably may know, I cut off the hood latch, the original OEM hood latch. My hood does not latch like a traditional hood anymore, so now I had to put these pins on so I can keep the hood secure. So now I can just pop these pins up and hood will come up. As you can see, I reinstalled my engine bay covers. They still look pretty good, even though they've been collecting dust for the past, I don't know, like 2 years. I got these before I even got the motor, and to be honest, I'm not really liking how this looks. Most importantly, I don't feel like this has any function anymore. At first, I thought it did when I got it initially. I personally just don't like the look of it. I'm gonna take them off right now. Okay, engine bay covers are removed, plus the heat shield. I will have to make a heat shield that covers the fuse box, just so that downpipe won't cook my wiring. Or another thing that I installed was this heater hose relocation bracket. Pretty sure it was like lined up with upper intake manifold off to the side, so that when the downpipe gets made, it has more room to clear instead of coming into contact and heating things up. I also moved my water pump, which used to be sitting inside the engine bay, and now it's underneath the radiator. I don't know if you can see that, but that's where the water pump is at. It's right under the radiator. I made a bracket for it so it can mount right where the bottom of the radiator used to sit, OEM style. Put a bracket on it so that the water pump won't move. But I was told that the electric water pump that I have, they recommend that you don't hard mount it. My plan is when I get the lines for the water pump and the radiator, I'm just gonna have it just free hang and just have it held by the tension of the lines. That's what the company recommends, so I'm gonna end up doing that. If I can have more space to fit my fans and whatnot underneath the radiator, I'm gonna do just that. Since I relocated the water pump, I have more space to mount my turbo, the manifold, and the downpipe. Somebody asked me in one of my videos how much space I have to mount a manifold. I got my measuring tape, so I'm gonna double check to see how much I got. The last time I checked, which was before the engine was hard mounted, was about 7 inches. Hopefully it should be the same, if not, just a little bit more. So just a rough estimate, have about maybe 7.5 inches worth of space to mount my turbo manifold. So not a lot of space, especially when I'm mounting a pretty big turbo. I really wanted to mount my turbo like right underneath lower intake manifold, like how like the FCR7s can do, but I can't do that. Even had to remove my heat shield, which I really wanted. I was trying to keep as much stuff as I can OEM, but since that I've removed my heat shield, I can actually put my boost solenoid, like one of the bolts where the heat shield used to be at. So I'm gonna do that real quick. So now my boost solenoid is mounted. I have one fitting angling towards down where the wastegates will be, and then the other fitting that will go to my vacuum block. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be out the way when the downpipe gets made. Oh, another thing that I did, I said that in the past video when I mounted this, I was gonna make a bracket for it. And I did that, made a bracket so that this has more support. Instead of just having one mount, now I got two. I do have the option of making another mount that's like underneath the drive-by-wire system, but two is fine. Doesn't seem to be moving anywhere, at least any real flexing to it. Took me a little bit longer than I thought. Had to do a lot of hammering, get this right. Pretty happy about that. One of the last things that I did for this engine bay, I removed my chassis engine bay harness on both sides. I'm going to be redoing it, mainly because with the ECU that I'm getting, the ECU can control a lot that the fuse boxes don't have to control. So I'm going to be cutting those wires out, making a smaller loom with it. That's it for the engine bay. That's all the stuff that I've done so far with it. Now I'm gonna move on to the interior of the car and show you guys what I did for that. I didn't do too much for the interior, but the things that I did was mounted my water pump controller that replaced my wideband controller that I no longer have anymore because of the new ECU that I plan on getting. This took me a good amount of time too, especially because for the life of me, I could not get this straight, and I just got so frustrated and I just left it the way it is. I don't know if you can tell, but it's crooked. but it's fine. People won't even see it. Mounted this on and made it easy for it to come off and on. Luckily, the wiring harness is long enough to make it so I can route it from the front of the bumper all the way inside. I still should have enough length, so if I was sitting on the driver's side, I can easily pop this cover off, grab the water pump, and then kind of bring it up just so I can see what type of data on the controller itself, or set some parameters, and then just this back on, and then just cover this back up like nothing ever happened. If I do end up coming short with the wiring for it, I'll probably just extend the harness a little bit more just so I can pull it up and bring it to me as close as I can without actually putting extra strain on the wires. The last thing I did for the interior was I bled my clutch pedal. So now all my pedals work as they should. So I have my clutch, brake, and then accelerator pedal. So they all work now. I will have to re-bleed the clutch pedal, mainly because I only did this by myself. In order to get this done right, I needed extra foot. I don't have too many things back here anymore besides my fender liner, fuel line covers, my fans, and then some other miscellaneous stuff that I might be throwing out. Not that, those are my bolts. But other stuff I might be throwing out just because I probably just don't need it anymore, and I'm just holding on to them for some reason. And then a lot of the stuff that I am keeping is already packed up, either inside boxes or just out to be out because I don't have a box to fit that turbo. All the stuff that I need is going to be packed up, either packed up inside the trunk or will be getting packed up when I move. So that's pretty much it for right now. I have some parts coming in every once in a while. The main thing I'm waiting for is to buy the rest of my Haltech stuff, which is the ECU, wiring harness, my ignition coils, and some other stuff that I can't think of right now. That's like the next big thing that I'm waiting for, that I should be getting probably next month. So do keep an eye out for that. The build is still continuing on. I'm balancing building the car and me moving at the same time. So it's kind of hard to focus on both things without giving up one or the other, at least for me. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.